Philadelphia's labor community is represented today, and we're honored by that. I'd first like to introduce Mr. Pat Eiding, AFL-CIO.
Thanks, Frank. Picture, if you will, a day in Philadelphia where there's no firemen, there's no policemen, nobody picking up the trash, nobody fixing the street lights, nobody doing anything. Picture, if you will. And now what you have is a mayor who is doing that. And those workers are there every day of the week, doing what has to be done to protect us, doing what has to be done to keep this city a first-class city. They never once deterred from their job. Never once. And I have to tell you, I come from a background that is probably not as correct as far as what our responsibilities are as those people are. They've worked through all this for 5 years, 4 years respectful. And I would say to the mayor, it's time to do your job. Do your job and pay the firemen today. And get a contract with the city workers today and tomorrow. And by the way, there's over 200,000 union members in the city of Philadelphia. Times that by at least 4, we'll get these petitions signed and we'll get this charter changed, and the city of Philadelphia will recognize the labor movement's alive here. The mayor will be going soon. Thank you.
Please welcome the business manager of the Philadelphia Building Trades, Pat Gillespie.
I was going to borrow Councilman Heenan's coat because he and I came here without coats. Listen, it wouldn't fit, Brady says, yeah, thanks. The idea that Alan Buckovitz and Joe came up with is a marvelous idea. I mean, it just shows what people with a little bit of scholarship, a little bit of brain power can do. The point that the mayor hasn't been doing his job isn't a novel one just in the firefighters episodes. It's been across the board. But this one we have a remedy for. I just hope that everyone understands that we'll be distributing power away from the mayor's office through city council, and maybe we get a better representation that way. The trouble with all of this comes that you have a person on the second floor in City Hall who simply isn't doing his job. I mean, it's as simple as that. I get a little aggravated when Jimmy Tyoon asked the question, how much did the lawyers make? And it's over $1 million. Someday, we should be holding those folks accountable, whoever earned that money, because it's pretty clear in the statute that says this is binding arbitration. When a judge then starts hearing a case that shouldn't even be brought, it begs the question, well, what is this, the legal fraternity, making sure that everybody's getting the payday but the firemen? I mean, it just makes you wonder how deep this scandal goes. But we will root it out, we'll sort it out, we'll get the petitions done, we'll do the legwork, and I hope we can all find a remedy for 47 and 33 so we can back this to the old days and we can fight each other. I'm tired of standing with these guys. I liked it before we fought. But building trades unions are there to get this done and to help get this done, and hopefully we'll be successful. Thank you.
Business manager of District Council 33, President of District Council 33, Pete Matthews.
First of all, thank you, the Local 22 and its president, for inviting me here today. You know, when the mayor first got in, he said, "New day, new way." He should have said, "If it's not my way, no way." And what happened in the firefighters arbitration is a disgrace. It's all about fairness. You win an arbitration award, whatever the arbitration award, you stand by it. That's the way it should be. Same thing with the police. But this is the mayor. Totally unfair. If it's not his way, it's no way. We've all seen that for years. This is how he operates. And a lot of the facts that don't get out about city employees, all city employees, when it first started, was they wanted to save money. Well, they accomplished that. I'll just say this one thing, and you all remember when the mayor first started out, he said he needed $25 million in savings to balance the budget. It's been 5 budgets. What does that tell you? The budgets have been balanced off the back of all city workers. This is a fact. But he plays games, and this is what the mayor is. He's mean-spirited, as I've heard other people say. He's vengeful. There's no reason for these contracts not to be settled. It's not financial. He's mean-spirited. What does he do when he doesn't get his way? Instead of sitting down negotiating, he goes to the Supreme Court, which involved everybody, which I am so, and after he did it, I'm glad he did it, because it brought all the labor together. And I'll say this, we're in full support of the firefighters. We'll have those petitions signed, and I can say this gleefully. Not that it was going. Labor is back in Philadelphia, never to go again. Thank you.
Please welcome the President of District Council 47, Cathy Scott.
District Council 47 is happy to be here to support our brothers and sisters in the FOP and the firefighters who come under Act 111. But in addition, one of the locals in District Council 47, Local 810, represents public safety officers, and those public safety officers have interest arbitration also, which is supposed to be final and binding and not appealable. The arrogance of this mayor is that he did not even bother to appeal the award for Local 810. He just didn't implement parts of it. And so we are now in front of the labor board alleging him having committed an unfair labor practice charge because he just totally ignored his responsibility for implementing an award for our public safety officers. So we are very happy to stand here with the firefighters and the police officers, as well as District Council 33, because we think that this mayor needs to be held accountable, not just in interest arbitration awards, which is important, but as Pete said, also having a contract for all city workers. Thank you.
We're down to the last two speakers. I'd like to welcome Joe Ashdale, Business Manager, District Council 21.
Real quick, I happen to be a glazier by trade, and we have a special place in our heart for firefighters because of, amongst all the wonderful things that the firefighters do, you heard about this morning, during the course of their job, they happen to break a lot of glass. And that helps keep my guys off the road, so we appreciate what the firefighters do. We call it ventilating, so keep ventilating. But you heard a lot of stuff this morning, in addition to the balancing the budget, not just on not paying people, but on underfunding the pensions. And we have these rolling brownouts and we have all this other stuff going on. Just my hat's off to everybody in your team, and I want to be part of this team on this initiative today. Whatever we can do to get out there and help get these petitions signed. I think you need, 30,000 names or something like that. Whatever we got to do. I'm looking at Eddie Nielsen and Bobby Heenan. This is what we do on Saturday morning. So we got one more campaign. Best of luck with everybody, and thanks again.
One of the four original signers of the petition, along with Joe Shuley, Cathy Scott, and John McNesby, and that is John J. Dougherty, Business Manager, IBEW, Local 98.
Thank you. I want to thank Joe and members of Local 22 for hosting this and jumping out of the box in a real impressive way. Everybody has a personal story, but unless a firefighter has affected your family, okay, or a neighbor or someone down the street, you really sometimes just take for granted how good they are. I said, my mom, who passed a few years ago, the last decade of her life was spent fighting emphysema and COPD. 4th and Snyder is the firehouse there, is less than 2 minutes away from 2133 South 4th Street, where myself, my brother Kevin, and my sister Maureen were raised. My mom would go to bed a little bit earlier, because of the struggles to breathe. The air conditioner would be on no matter what time of the year it was. TV would be on. Tried to soothe her. My father would be with her. One day, firefighters who not only were doing their job, but had a special relationship with that neighborhood, had a familiarity with the neighbors, saw that there was a flame next door, not only ran in the house next to my mother, burned to the ground, not only ran in to try to make sure, it was a vacant house at the time, that the fire was quickly controlled. But if the fire didn't kill my mother, the smoke would have. They knocked on that door, they got my mother out, they got her to the hospital. Fast forward another decade. The other side of Snyder Avenue, where I live, 1933, on Messing Avenue. One of them nice cool nights, breeze blowing. 3 or 4 weeks after we announced we were going to have brownouts. It was so cool that I had my window open. Around 3 o'clock, smell a little smoke. Look out the window. Look across the street. We have on the corner, okay, from where I live, we have 16 apartments that went up like that. Cool night. We have, well, Messing Avenue is covered with old trees that overhang into your bedroom windows and onto your rooftops. There was a brownout. A lot of people died on that block. If it wasn't for the great work of that 4th and Snyder group, that would have been browned out the next night. Okay, a lot of people would have died. The only thing older than the neighbors on my block are the trees. Now that's personal. Now let me give you the /political side of this. Mayor's a fraud. We know he's a fraud. The people who elected him in the high rises now know they overestimated his intelligence level. Okay, the thing that most people underestimated was his arrogance. He plays games with working people. He plays games with political adversaries. If you don't genuflect every day of the week, he'll put you in harm's way. He spent millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay, when he could have been paying the firefighters. Don't let anybody fool you. He's got a mayor's box, okay, that's fully food and fully drink. As you heard Pete say, he went to the Supreme Court, not just for these arbitrations, but he went to the Supreme Court over the King's Bench. He lost. He went to court over the BRT. He had to pay all these people back pay. He's got $20 million worth of deputy mayors. We had a managing director. They spent $1 million, didn't even know about the renovator. And then when she left, we set her off, okay, with a big pension. And the people have kept my mom, Jonathan's family, and everyone else in this room safe, get disrespected on a regular basis. This resolution will pass, okay? The charter change will pass. But the problem we have is that we should be doing more of this on a regular basis because this guy is harmful to Philadelphia. His ego has allowed him to get in the way of not only this here issue, but the safety of construction workers. I told him the Saturday before the death on 22nd Street, out in front on Chestnut Street, the people were going to die because he took L&I, cut it from $30 million to $20 million, turned it into permits or us, and that if he didn't do something, people were going to die. 3 days later, I'm at a profit, and I was sick in my stomach when that happened. But that did not have to happen. Okay, if you take a look at his history, he went up. You look at the coalition of people he could have went up to Harrisburg with. Okay, his ego will not allow that. He went up to Harrisburg on a regular basis to try to bring money back. He brought nothing back. He went to Harrisburg without Congressman Brady, without Congressman Fattah, without Congressman Schwartz, without Council President Darrell Clark, without City Controller Alan Bukovitz. You don't think that if his ego, okay, I guarantee you when that fire report comes back in the Kensington warehouse, that people lost their life because the city didn't do their job. I guarantee you that happens. Okay, that's a problem. So this isn't about a resolution. This is about taking our city back. Okay, and I hope that we all stay together for the good of Philadelphia, on the same page for the governor, and we never allow anyone not prepared for the second floor to take it again. Thank you, Joe.